In the final days of the muscle car era, Dodge built something that pushed straight past common sense. This is the SRT Demon 170, a street-legal factory car with performance so ferocious, it's effectively outlawed on the dragstrip without added safety gear. This final installment of Dodge's Last Call series is the most powerful muscle car Dodge has ever built, churning out an astonishing 1,025 horsepower on special fuel. It rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 1.66 seconds, quicker than a multi-million-dollar Bugatti Chiron, and even faster than you can blurt out its full name. In fact, the Demon 170 devoured the quarter mile in only 8.91 seconds at 151.17 miles per hour, a blistering pace that got it banned by the NHRA. This is the story of a car so fast it broke the rulebook, yet remained somehow street legal, a terrifying monster born for the dragstrip, arriving just as the curtain falls on the age of gasoline supercars. To understand the Demon 170, we need to set the stage. It's 2023, and Dodge knows time is running out for V8 muscle cars. Stricter emissions rules and the rise of electrification mean the legendary Challenger and Charger are ending production by the end of 2023. As a final send-off, Dodge created the Last Call series, 7 special editions celebrating the end of an era. The Demon 170 is the 7th and final Last Call special edition, and Dodge clearly saved the wildest for last. In the words of Dodge CEO Tim Kuniskis, this car was a passion project for the team, a no-holds-barred attempt to send the iconic Challenger out with a very big bang. The Demon name has always meant pushing limits. In 2018, Dodge shocked the car world with the original Challenger SRT Demon, an 840 horsepower, single-seat drag monster that ran the quarter mile in 9.65 seconds, fast enough for the NHRA to demand a roll cage. It became an instant legend, the first production car to lift its front wheels and dip into the nines. 5 years later, Dodge took that idea even further. The Demon 170 isn't just a tribute, it's a full evolution with nearly every major engine component strengthened to survive even more power. This wasn't nostalgia, it was a final statement. The last stand of the Hellcat era and Dodge's way of making sure the age of supercharged V8 muscle cars ended as loudly as possible. Building a 1,025 horsepower street car isn't just about turning up the boost. The Demon 170 6.2-liter supercharged HEMI was heavily reworked to survive punishment most engines were never meant to handle. Dodge says nearly every major internal component was redesigned and strengthened, because at this level, everything is under stress. At the center of it all is a massive 3.0-liter supercharger, larger than the one used on the original Demon. With a bigger intake, a 105mm throttle body, and a faster spinning pulley, it forces in far more air, around 40% more boost than a Hellcat Redeye. Cylinder pressures climb to extreme levels, closer to what you'd expect from a drag car than something wearing license plates. In simple terms, Dodge gave this thing the heart of a race machine, then somehow made it just civilized enough to drive on the street. To handle that kind of power, Dodge had to reinforce everything behind the engine. The Demon 170 gets a completely upgraded driveline, stronger axles, a reinforced differential, and a heavier-duty driveshaft, all built to survive violent launches on sticky tires. The 8-speed automatic was reworked too, featuring a trans-brake system that lets the car launch hard without rolling. Even the suspension is drag-focused, shifting weight to the rear to maximize grip and allowing the car to lift the front wheels on launch. And the numbers back it up. On high-octane fuel, the Demon 170 delivers 1,025 horsepower and 945 pound-feet of torque, making it the most powerful production V8 ever sold. Even on regular premium gas, it still pushes around 900 horsepower. But to unlock its true potential, there's one key ingredient left to talk about: the fuel behind that 170 badge. The 170 in Demon 170 isn't random. It's a nod to what this car runs on. Dodge built the engine around E85 ethanol, often called corn juice. In alcohol terms, that's roughly 170 proof, and that's where the name comes from. E85 burns cooler and carries a much higher octane rating, which lets the engine handle more boost and timing without self-destructing. The Demon 170 is also flex fuel, meaning it automatically adjusts based on what's in the tank. Fill it with E85 and you get the full 1,025 horsepower. Run regular premium and it dials itself back to around 900 horsepower. Anything in between lands somewhere in the middle. The wild part is how simple it is. Pull up to a gas station, fill it with E85, and drive straight to the Dragstrip with 4-digit power. No race fuel, no tuning, just pure chaos. Sure, E85 has an eco angle. It's partly renewable and technically cleaner on paper, but let's be real. No one is buying a Demon 170 to save the planet. When Dodge CEO Tim Kuniskis was asked about fuel economy, his answer was simple: terrible. This car drinks fuel like a race machine because efficiency was never the goal. E85 is the Demon's secret weapon, a high-octane boost that lets it reach numbers once thought impossible for a street car. It's an old drag racing trick. Except Dodge is selling it straight from the factory, with a warranty. Now let's talk about the phrase "too fast to be legal." The Demon 170 is the first street-legal production car to run an 8-second quarter mile, ripping off an 8.91 at 151 miles per hour. And that's where things get interesting. Under NHRA rules, anything that quick needs serious safety gear. When Dodge submitted the times, the response was basically, "Nice work, but don't come back without a roll cage and a parachute." Dodge leaned into it. Being banned became part of the legend. That doesn't mean owners can't race it, it just means you have to suit it up first. Dodge even sells the fix, a bolt-in cage and an optional parachute, just like a real drag car. Once that's installed, the Demon 170 is fully legal to run. There's some symmetry here. The original 2018 Demon was already too quick for NHRA rules, running a 9.65 second quarter mile without a cage. The Demon 170 takes that idea and cranks it to another level entirely. This is the first factory street car to run an 8-second quarter mile right off the showroom floor. To put that into context, most supercars, even million-dollar hypercars, never touch those numbers. Yet here's a $100,000 muscle car outrunning them in a straight line. It even launches harder than some electric hypercars, hitting 0 to 60 in just 1.66 seconds and pulling over 2 Gs of force. It doesn't just accelerate, it feels like being fired out of a cannon. The Demon 170 isn't effortless to drive. Putting 1,000 plus horsepower down on street-legal tires takes skill. On a prepped strip, the Mickey Thompson drag radials grip hard, but hitting that perfect launch still comes down to the driver and the conditions. Even Dodge admits not every run will be an 8-second pass, but that's what makes it crazy. You can fill it up at a gas station, drive to the track, rip off an 8-second quarter mile, and then drive it home. That dual personality, part street car, part drag racer, is what makes the Demon 170 so wild. It's fully legal on the road, yet so fast it needs modifications just to race it properly. So how does Dodge even sell a car like this for the street? By playing right up against the rulebook and accepting some serious compromises. The Demon 170 is street legal, but just barely. It comes from the factory as a single-seat car. No passenger seat, no rear seats. Most of the sound insulation is gone too. Dodge stripped out everything that didn't help it go faster. You can add the seats back if you really want to, but it's expensive. And honestly, most owners won't bother. This was never meant to be practical. The Demon 170 isn't a family car. It's a purpose-built machine, and every pound Dodge removed was done for one reason: speed. The tires are another technical loophole. The Demon 170 runs Mickey Thompson drag radials, legal on paper, but basically slicks with grooves. On a warm, prepped surface, they hook hard. In the cold or rain, things get sketchy fast. Dodge even warned owners about driving in wet conditions, a polite way of saying don't push your luck. So yes, it's street legal, but daily driving isn't easy. Ground clearance is low, the supercharger screams through the hood, and fuel stops come often. This isn't a normal road car. It's a race car with license plates. Legal to drive, but always ready to fight. Despite all that, Dodge didn't strip the Demon 170 down completely. You still get the basics: an 8.4-inch touchscreen, air conditioning, and a sound system. Even if it's just 2 speakers, anything beyond that was optional by design. If you wanted luxury, you had to pay for it. The price reflected the madness, starting at $96,666. A not-so-subtle nod from Dodge as it landed. Around $100,000 once fees were added. Not cheap, but for the performance it was almost absurd value. Dealers tried to cash in, marking them up wherever they could, but supply was limited from the start. Only 3,300 cars were built. In fact, Dodge offered owners of the 2018 Demon the special privilege to match the Vani in on their new Demon 170, essentially to pair the original and its successor as a set. Clearly, the brand knew this car would become an instant collectible, the ultimate halo car for the brotherhood of muscle. The Dodge SRT Demon 170 is more than just a straight-line monster. It's the final chapter of an era. For decades, American muscle cars chased bigger engines and more power, but the Demon 170 takes that classic formula and pushes it to a level no one thought a factory car could reach. 2 doors, a supercharged V8, rear-wheel drive, turned up to absolute insanity. This was Dodge's mic drop moment before moving on from V8s. Instead of going quietly, they built a street-legal drag car that does wheelies, outruns supercars, and needs a parachute to slow down. It's the ultimate send-off for the Hellcat era. Loud, excessive, and unapologetic. As the industry shifts toward electric muscle, the Demon 170 stands as a final salute to gasoline power. Love it or hate it, this is what going out with a bang looks like. A car that broke the rules, bent the limits, and will never be forgotten.